I wanted to share one more story, right? So we're in, I can't remember exactly where the village is. When we show up in country to drill this, when we're driven to a location, it's not like here where it's like, turn left on Main Street, like you're just in a van and you're driving through the wilderness until you arrive. So somewhere in Tanzania, Africa, we were at a school drilling a well, and it was beautiful. There was about 600 kids that were served by this school. And it was exciting. They were excited to have us. We were excited to be there. And we found out that they arrive at school at about 9 a.m. And then in Tanzania, school is compulsory and they have to wear uniforms. So these are people that typically can't afford to feed their families, and they're required by their government to have their children wear a school uniform, which is challenging financially. But it's still amazing to see the commitment to education in third world countries. So I show up, 9 a.m. they get there, roughly 3 p.m. they go home, and there is no cafeteria in this school. There are 3 cinder block buildings where kids are sitting on benches, very few resources, and food is not a resource provided by the school. So these children are there in school all day and they don't have lunch. And they're still alive. It's not like that's going to kill someone, but boy, that makes it tough to learn. It's challenging to learn when your belly is empty. And so I was there thinking, what could I do to help? And I just thought of my own life experience. Much of my nutrition, being someone I think I'm active, I think I'm healthy, is, I typically have my shaker bottle and I pour some water or almond milk or milk in something, and there's a couple scoops of protein powder, shake it up, and that's a meal, or it can be. And I thought, how easy would it be to create a meal replacement that these kids could be fed? And it was just one of those thoughts, one of those moments. Came back home and I thought, who's done this before? And then I'm not an expert on the Bible, but there's this story in the Bible where God was trying to feed the Israelites, and they were in the desert and they were wandering, and he's like, how can I solve their problem? And so he provided manna. It's spelled M-A-N-N-A, and it was this white fluffy stuff that always appeared in the morning on the ground. And they would just go and pick it up and they would eat it, and it gave them nutrition. I'm like, wow, wouldn't it be cool to create a meal replacement that gave nutrition to these kids? What would I call it? And so I took manna, M-A-N-N-A, went back to Google Translate. What's manna in Japanese? Well, it's manna, but spelled with one N. And so I created a meal replacement product called manna that we take with us when we do humanitarian work, and we take it to school so that the kids can have some nutrition. So the way I've done that is set it up as a social business, meaning this is not a product or business whose purpose is to provide a net profit. It's not a for-profit entity. Everything is run under Koken Cares as a nonprofit. But this social business exists where people like me that will buy 2 bags of this manna, which is really the best product that I've been able to design. It's a very elite nutrient stack for someone like myself. Tastes great. It checks all the boxes for someone like me. So for every 2 bags that I would buy for myself, that gives us enough money to make and to provide a bag at no cost to a school somewhere in the world, right? So we buy 2, we give away 1. And that is, like, you would think does that run counter to what you're trying to do, Steve? Because you're not requiring that student to give you anything for their bag of manna. But I am. Their contribution is showing up to school every day. And they don't have the resources as a 12-year-old person when they go to school to feed themselves. It's their contribution is to show up. My contribution is to feed them when they're there. And so together, if they'll keep showing up and we keep feeding them, then they'll be healthy, they'll be active, they'll learn, and they'll hopefully become extraordinary.
So you, just to repeat, you've made this product that actually can be a nutrition supplement for
Correct.
for like these kids.
Yeah.
And then the way you've set it up is so that, but it's for anybody.
Yeah.
And so the way you've set it up is so that somebody could actually go buy 2 for themselves, and you take the money that comes from that, and then you're able to give one of them to some kids.
Correct.
Or use it in Africa or wherever you happen to be doing the
right. So I invested money in the first big batch of 1,000 or so bags, and then the income from those that come in are self-perpetuating.
Right.
So yeah.